I really started to get into the story because I am the son of an Auschwitz survivor. My mother was, survived Auschwitz, and she always wanted me to make a movie about her, but she never told me enough about her story to. I never really wanted to make a film about her, even though she wanted me to, because I didn't somehow want to get trapped in her whole thing, and so somehow this evolved in a very personal way to becoming kind of my answer to her, because these kids are sort of the children of the Argentine Holocaust, just like I'm a kind of child of the Jewish Holocaust. So, so I got really involved, and I really cared about the people that we were filming with, and I'm so used to fiction, and a lot of the fiction I've done has been really crappy TV movies, and hard to get involved in some of the crummy scripts that and this all of a sudden was different. It was real life, so it was a life experience as well as a filmmaking experience, and so the whole thing became very compelling and very meaningful to me. So I, of course, although I had no idea how the film was going to turn out, and you don't know. I mean, that's the big difference on a documentary, is you just don't have a clue, because you don't know where you're going. I mean, you're just following your instincts. You don't have a script. I mean, you have ideas, but you can't make things happen in a documentary. So it was a process. We filmed for about as much money as we had time to film. And we came back and I started cutting the film, and it just looked like crap. I mean, it was just awful. I just didn't have it, so we decided to go back again. And now I knew what we were kind of missing, so it's a real process. So we didn't really have a lot of money to do that, because you have to do a lot with a little on a documentary compared to a movie. And we got really good stuff the second time. I mean, we had better stuff than I had realized. It took me a while to even figure out what I had. And then we did a lot more editing, and then I started to feel better about the movie, and then people started to look at the movie, and I realized it had an impact. The other thing is you just don't really know the impact it's going to have. So I like it because it's an emotional story, it's a human story, and everything else you find out about. You find out about the politics and all of that, but it isn't about that, and it doesn't make any statement about what's right or wrong. One of the things that I love in the film is that we got the opportunity, thanks to somebody I met in Buenos Aires, to work with Eduardo Galeano. I like his work and all that, but I was afraid he was going to give us all of this political stuff, and he didn't. He really nailed it. He really said so many beautiful things, which was exactly what I was feeling anyway, except he put it so much better, he said things like, nobody has the right to tell these kids who they are.
No es una oposición entre el cielo y el infierno, entre el bien y el mal. No corresponde decirles a los chicos, todo eso es mentira, y nosotros te vamos a entregar tu única verdad posible. No, no. Vas a tener muchas verdades posibles. Y tú, solo tú, serás capaz de elegir la que quieras.
The twins continued to defend this horrible guy who's their adoptive father. And some of them have really, stood up against the people who stole them. And the left, I mean, the cameraman that I was working with then, there's a fantastic cameraman, a really great guy, and I just love the guy. He just hated the point of view of the film. He said, these twins have to stand up against this guy. He's such a criminal. They just can't, But what one of the twins says in the film so movingly and beautifully is, because, his father, this guy is on trial now for murder and rape and all that. And so he said, look, don't ask me to judge it. It's not my job. He brought me out. It's society's job. It's the court's job to judge him. There has to be a trial. The truth has to come out, Most of the time on a lot of these TV movies and everything like that, there's network executives, there's producers, there's a whole layer of bullshit that is unavoidable. you know. And decisions get made for really, really dumb reasons, you know. And a lot of things that could have been a lot better end up a lot worse for stupid reasons, you know. Whereas in this film, from my point of view, just my own experience, was about the freest I've ever been. Like, there was nobody around to tell me what to do. You know, like CBC, I don't know if it's always like that, you know, on documentaries, but basically they were totally uninvolved until the very end. I mean, they saw the film when I had a cut of the film. And up until then, except for that little demo I made from the first research trip, that's what they bought the whole film on. And everything I told them I was going to do was just nonsense. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do, so I just made it up, basically. And what I did turned out to be different, but much better than what I hoped, because, you know, it was real. I'm a person who was born in Prague to Jewish parents who brought me up as a Unitarian in Montreal, Canada, which is a French city where I was brought up in English, you know. So I'm a person with shallow roots, you know. All of my relatives were dead before I was born. I mean, I never met a single relative of my mother's. And my father had a sister in New York and a few relatives here and there that got out of Europe before the war. But so I don't have the kind of attachment to place that a lot of people do. I mean, I have a lot of friends in Quebec that are, you know, very attached to real estate, you know. And nevertheless, anybody, you know, whether you have roots or not, because, you know, we come from an era in history where people have moved around the surface of the planet a lot more than they used to, you know. But anybody has got a more special feeling for where they grew up than anywhere else, you know, just because, you know, that's where you grew up. And so, yeah, you know, it always means something to do something that's personally meaningful to you, and place is a big part of, you know, that. But it is not the thing that makes me tick the most. Like, I think art in general is one of the things that really transcends cultures as well as defines it, you know.